Hi all, it's Karen and
Pluto.
here for Karen and Bluto's on our review channel. Another movie review, obviously.
Yep, I
Um,
think.
yeah. This one was one I never seen. I actually enjoyed it. I will put that out there
You
to
just like
start.
it's about dolls.
Yeah, it's called Dolls. It's from 1986. It's
K-Dolls.
rated R. It's 78 minutes, so
Yep,
it's
good
not
length.
not real long either. And it was kind of it was interesting. I mean,
You like the dolls.
yeah, it was kind of messed up too.
Looks like your house. Full of
Um,
dolls.
yeah. So we start out at the beginning, and there are these two hitchhikers walking on the road. This car comes by and almost runs them over. And here it's this family driving when a storm starts to hit. It's Judy's the little girl who's kind of one of our main
She's
characters.
cool
Her
for a kid.
dad and her stepmom.
You like her.
Yeah, her
She might be
stepmom's
you.
her stepmom's a real biatch.
Like you.
Yeah. Um, So Judy keeps saying about, well, my mom said, and the stepmother's like, well, your mom's not here, basically, and her dad's not real nice to her either.
You don't want her.
So eventually the car gets stuck, and they find there's this house nearby. They're like, maybe we can at least seek shelter for the night. So they're walking, and Judy has this stuffed bear that's her like best friend, and they
Yeah,
go
the bear's cool.
everywhere. And her stepmom takes the bear and says it's weighing her down and throws it in the woods. So then
That was mean.
Judy has this vivid imagination about the bear growing real big
That's a
and
twisted imagination.
yeah, and then coming and attacking her dad and stepmom. And she's like, oh, Teddy.
Now, do you think she has psychological problems?
She's an overactive imagination.
Like me.
So eventually they find the house. They're banging on the front door and nobody's answering. So they find this way into an,
Oh, I was
like,
thinking something else.
what?
You said they were banging on the front door. I had a
Uh,
different visual.
Not
Okay,
that.
moving on.
So eventually they find this way into like the basement of the house, and then while they're in there,
Joe. Why do you keep saying
Judy,
Joe?
I want to say Jody, and I knew that
Jody.
Judy sees these eyes and starts like freaking out, like what's going on? Um,
Next.
I'm trying to.
Oh, you haven't
Oh
done
well,
that in a while.
they keep telling her stepmom and dad keep telling her that she has an overactive imagination, so they don't believe anything she says.
Kind of nobody believes me.
Yeah. So the owners find them and basically like, it's kind of rude just to come into a place and not knock. And Judy's like, well,
Yeah.
we did try to knock at the door, but nobody answered, and we're just trying to get out of the weather. So they do get invited in by the husband and wife that live there, and
They're
they're like,
cool.
we'll feed you. You could spend the night, then we'll see about getting
Yep.
your car unstuck and everything.
Ugh.
Um, well, this is when they're talking while they're eating, and the dad says to the owner of the house about Judy having a very active imagination. And the owner's like, "Oh, you came to the right place because he makes dolls for a living." Um, and she basically tells him too about what happened. Don't you have a doll, Judy? Like he's trying to figure out like it's not right for a little girl not to have a doll, and
Or a monster.
she
Like me.
starts saying,
A teddy bear.
"Well, I had a teddy bear, but." And she was getting ready to say about her stepmom throwing it, and her stepmom kicks her under the table, and they're like, "Oh, she accidentally dropped it while we were here." So the owner gives her Mr. Punchin, is that what his name
Something
is?
like that.
Something like that. Gives her
Just like a
this,
jester or something.
yeah,
A
gives her
clown.
this
Something.
doll to keep while she's there for the night.
That was nice.
They were just saying too, they're going on about how they don't have too many visitors come about or anything like that. And oh, their names are Gabrielle and Hillary. I knew I wrote them down somewhere.
Aren't those the punk rock chicks or the old people?
No, the old people.
Oh,
I
I
can't
don't remember.
pronounce the one girl's name. I think I wrote it down wrong, anyways.
I want the punk rock
Um,
chicks.
he was saying about, how he makes dolls personalized, but now with mass production, people don't want one of a kind things. Eventually, the two hitchhikers that were almost hit and this other character, Ralph, show up,
He's cool.
kind of
I like him.
come into the place, and they're like, oh, we're looking for shelter. So all these people are spending the night there. Um, so they go and show the guests to their rooms. Um, Judy and Ralph kind of become friends, and they're
Because he's like a
walking.
kid too.
Yeah, he's a kid at
Like
heart.
me.
Yeah. So they're at the end and talking, and Judy's like, "Aren't you afraid?" And he goes, "Afraid of what? Being in this?" And she's like, "Being in this house." Because she walked by this one room and could hear all these noises, and I think she thinks they're elves. Is that what she says? Or
Elves or trolls.
trolls?
Elves, I don't remember. Sorry.
So,
It's been a while since you watched this.
basically, the hitchhikers are placed in one room, and they're talking about how basically they planned on robbing Ralph, but they hadn't gotten that far. And then they're like, "Well, we'll still rob him." And then and they're kind of talking to Hillary, and she's saying about there's some stuff that's priceless in here as well. So the one decides, okay, we're going to rob here as well. Get some extra stuff.
And she goes off on her own.
So as then we cut away to
I knew that was coming.
yeah. Gabriel is kind of taking Ralph and Judy still around, and he talks about liking toys and how toys you don't ever outgrow toys, and toys are very loyal.
That's right. You still have your toys.
Mine
are on Botopia. Okay. I miss them.
Well, then we cut to Judy's parents, who are in their own room, and they talk about just shipping her back to her mother in America, and like that's it. We're not going to worry about it because I guess it's summer, and since they have split custody, and because he's over in England or whatever, she goes there during the summer. And
he wants her money.
Yeah, he just wants his current wife's money.
Well, kind of like your husband wants your money.
So one of the hitchhikers starts sneaking around the house, trying to find stuff.
Yeah, what do you think should have happened?
Wait and see. Then we also cut away because Judy likes to read Hansel and Gretel a lot. So she's in bed with Mr. Punchin or whatever his name is.
Mr. Punchin.
I can't remember. Something along those lines. And she's like, I'm thirsty. And she has him talking as well. And they go off to get a drink. Well, the one hitchhiker that's sneaking around is kind of being followed. And eventually, like, all of this weird stuff starts happening, and she gets attacked. And Judy kind of sees her get thrown in the hall at one point and then pulled away in the hall. And Judy's kind of like freaking out, like, what is going on? So Judy goes running to her parents' room to tell her what happened. And of course, they don't believe her. And Judy's like, okay, whatever. So then we cut away to Ralph. He's reading in bed. And he eventually goes to go to sleep. And Judy walks in and grabs his big toe and scares the crap out of him. So Judy kind of tells him what's going on. And he goes, well, I'll go check it out, because if I find out what's going on and I go and tell everybody, they have to believe me because I'm an adult.
Not really.
Doesn't work out that way.
They don't believe me.
So, well, initially Ralph didn't believe what she was saying, but then when Judy went to walk away, he sees blood on her slippers. So that's when he decides, okay, we got to check this out and see what's going on. So eventually, they're going, but they do get separated. But then Judy and Ralph eventually reconnect. They find a blood trail that's going up to the attic. And here, the hitchhiker that was exploring is sitting off to the side, but nobody sees her. Isabel, I think, was her name.
Who cares?
And here, when they're going to leave, there's all these dolls by the steps, and Ralph trips over them. It's funny. Like, where did that, it's kind of like, where the heck did this come from? So basically, they go to tell Judy's parents and the other hitchhiker what's going on. Well, the other hitchhiker accuses Ralph of attacking her friend because he wanted to get with her. And then Judy's father gets all defensive, like, oh my God, you're hanging around with my daughter. Get away from her, you monster, and everything.
Everybody's stupid.
So then Judy's like, no, he's telling the truth. Well, she goes and takes off. So Dad goes and chases her. I can't remember what else. Ralph got bit in the middle of all this too. Yeah. So Dad's trying to find Judy. Ralph walks away. Well, eventually we cut away to Ralph finding Gabriel. And Gabriel was like, oh, I spilled paint. That's why you saw all the red on the floor. And I was trying to get it cleaned up. Paint. And Ralph said about the girl. And he said, oh, don't worry about the girl. She'll be taken care of. So the other friend, I put Edith, but I don't think that's quite her name.
Edith. I don't know.
Eden or something. The other hitchhiker. I was worried about her friends. And here there were these dolls up on this one shelf that they knocked on the floor to put the radio up. Well, while she has her back turned. The radio falls off this mantle and breaks into a million pieces, and all the dolls are back up on the mantle. Cool. So she eventually goes out and starts trying to look for her friend. Eventually, we find Ralph in the kitchen, I think, trying to clean up the bite mark he has.
Oh, yeah, he's talking to the girl.
And they're talking. And Mr. Punch talks on his own to Ralph at this point. That's his name, Mr. Punch.
Not punches.
No, Punch.
Yeah, he said punches.
And
I
he
think.
says something to Ralph about, I can't remember exactly what he says, but it's
That's
like
all
if
right.
you still believe you're a kid or something along
Yeah, I
those
like that
lines.
part.
Well, we go back to stepmom in bed by herself,
Wonder
and
what she was doing by herself.
she's painting her nails, and all of a sudden, this movement's going on under the blanket. So she moves the blanket, and it's all these dolls underneath there attacking her,
That was cool.
and all that. So they keep attacking her, and eventually she dives out a window. So we go back to our one hitchhiker friend, Eden, or whatever her name is. She's looking for Isabel,
Did they bring her back into the bed then?
I guess. The
Oh,
scene later.
that was weird.
She sees.
Sorry.
Oh, she sees Eden is walking around when she sees Hillary walking with a stroller, like singing a lullaby. So she hides. And then she eventually goes up to the attic, and here there's all these different torture devices up there. Well, she eventually finds
Look at your attic.
Isabel, and Isabel's telling her to go back, get out, be safe.
Get
And
out.
basically, Isabel is starting to be changed into a doll. So she starts setting the dolls on fire with the candle I think she has, because she's like, oh my God, the kid was right. There are little people living in this
Yeah, the dark
house.
hair chick.
Yeah, so
I don't know her
Eden,
names.
Edith, whatever the hell her name is,
Who
goes
cares?
downstairs to try to get help, and here there's all these soldier dolls down there that fire at
That's
her and
cool.
kill her, which that was kind of a cool scene.
Oh, you like that?
It was interesting. Dad eventually gets in the room, and stepmom's body's in the bed, and um, meanwhile she's bleeding, but you can't tell anything. So he eventually leaves to go take a shower. Ralph and Judy get to the room where she's hearing the noises, and they go in to explore, and they find all these dolls here. And the dolls are alive, and they come alive at night. Well, Ralph starts attacking the toys, which makes them mad.
He shouldn't have did that.
And they start attacking Ralph. Well, Judy kind of gets upset, and she's like,
She's their leader.
yeah, she's like, no, you can't be doing this. You're hurting my friend. That's not nice.
That's right.
So then basically
That's
the
what I'd say.
dolls are discussing amongst themselves what to do with
That was
Judy
funny.
and Ralph, because Ralph's like, what's going on? And they're like, Judy's like, they're deciding whether to let us go or kill us, basically. And well, they're focused on Ralph because they're saying he still has a heart of a child, but he was just trying to be, rational in this point.
Or help her.
So then the dad eventually gets out of the shower, goes in bed, finds stepmom wife dead.
Stepmom wife.
Yeah. And he thinks Ralph did it, so he goes to find Ralph. The dolls decide to let Ralph and Judy go.
That was nice.
And Judy thanks them.
Because they're cool.
Basically, Rosemary, that was stepmom's name. So eventually, in the middle of all this, dad shows up and says about Ralph killing Rosemary. Dad and Ralph start fighting. Judy's trying to defend Ralph. Like, no, he didn't do it. David, that's dad's name.
Very good.
Judy calls her dad out on not being very nice to her, which he's not. He's an asshole. Mr. Punch then starts attacking dad because I think Ralph and Judy somehow get knocked out in the middle of all this.
The girl does?
I don't know, because at one point they show Ralph and Judy being pulled back into the room they just came out of.
Oh, yeah.
So
I don't remember. Sorry.
basically, dad starts attacking all the dolls on the shelves with a sledgehammer, and he does eventually kill Mr. Punch.
But it does have a happy ending.
Yeah. So Gabriel and Hillary come downstairs. Basically, dad calls them out on being a witch, and they both start laughing. They're like, "Oh, you figured it out!" Ha 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 ha. So,
You're pretty good at that.
Yeah.
Because you're a witch. All right, we're almost done.
I'm trying to read my handwriting.
Man.
And Gabriel goes basically, yeah, you're going to help me repair things, starting with Mr. Punch, and basically he turns David into the new Mr. Punch.
That was funny.
And basically
right,
everything's back to normal. It comes up the next day. Ralph and Judy are in the living room dressed, and Gabriel says, "Oh, we found you guys passed out in the storage room for the night, and we weren't sure, so we brought you in here." And then here, Judy's like, "What about my dad?" And he goes, "Oh, he left a note that him and your stepmom were leaving. They're changing their name. They're going into hiding. You're going to go and stay with your mom full time." And that he was putting David in, or not David, Ralph in charge of getting her back to her mom in the United States. And um,
She
but
wants
they
him to
all,
be a dad.
yeah, they also say like that you could stay if you want to, and Ralph's kind of figuring something fishy's going on, so
Yep.
he's trying to hurry and get him out of there. Um, Judy does say about coming back to visit.
Sure, why not?
Well, then they got Ralph's car unstuck so he could go. And here, when Judy opens the door, Teddy's back in there. So, but Teddy, she takes Teddy to Hillary and Gabriel and just says she thinks Teddy would be happier there with friends.
Wasn't that nice? That was nice.
So,
Teddy bears are awesome.
while Ralph and Judy are driving away, Judy's asking Ralph, like, "Have you ever thought about getting married? Are you married? How about a?" He's like, she's trying to.
Ralph asked Judy
Oh,
about getting
Judy
married.
asked Ralph. Sorry.
Wow. I think that'll be a very different movie.
Yeah. Yeah. Judy asks
Wow.
Ralph like these questions, like basically she wants to try to fix him up with her mom. So I
Unless
think
this is
she's,
done, you're confusing me.
yeah, I'm confusing myself. Then we do a cutaway and we see a doll, a shelf with dolls that look like each of the two hitchhikers, Rosemary and David, on the one shelf.
That's
So
cool.
they've been all but turned into dolls.
Yep.
And then during the credits, there's another car that gets stuck out there and they start packing up stuff and moving towards the house. So,
And they're being mean to the kid.
yeah, be mean to both the kids.
Cool movie.
So,
I like it.
yeah, it's interesting. I can say, honestly, I don't think I've seen anything like this before. So, it's definitely different. I mean, it's enjoyable. It's not long. So, if you're just looking to kill a little over an hour,
Yeah, see? Back then, movies didn't have to be 6
yeah.
hours long.
So, basically, you got it all in a nutshell there. So, please remember to like, comment, subscribe, bell icon so you know when I post new content. Help share the page. It would be greatly appreciated. Subscribers and watchers, thank you. You guys are awesome. Appreciate all of you. Keep coming back to watch.
Yep.
Check out my other channel, K Doll Games, Toys and More, toy and game reviews. Amazon wish lists posted. So if you want to hook us up with something, it'd be awesome.
Yep.
If there's something you want us to review, let me know in the comments. If I can locate it, great. If not, if you want to hook us up, that would be great as well.
Yep.
We'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.